Welcome to a Legendarium special about the Arctic misadventures of Salomon August Andrée. Salomon August Andrée was born in the small town of Gränna, Sweden, on October 18, 1854. Little is known about his early life save that his father died in 1870, which made the 15-year-old Andrée ever closer to his widowed mother. Nonetheless, he attended the Royal Institute of Technology in Stockholm and graduated with a degree in mechanical engineering during the year 1874. At age 22, he began a study tour of the United States in 1876. He secured a job as a janitor in the Swedish pavilion at the Centennial Exposition in Philadelphia, which displayed the world's latest technology. While in Philadelphia, he met American ballooning pioneer John Wise, who launched balloon ascents from the exposition grounds. Although unable to afford the price of a ride, Andrée became obsessed with balloon technology and the possibilities it provided for exploration and scientific research. After returning home to Sweden, Andrée worked several jobs before finally settling on work for the Swedish Patent Office, where he specialized in studying new inventions. Despite working from behind a desk rather than on board a dirigible, Andrée's interest in ballooning continued until 1892, when Andrée made his first balloon ascent. The following year, he of private his own balloon for making scientific observations. From 1893 to 1895, Andrée made 9 ascents in his hydrogen balloon, which he called the Sve, and scientists called his reports first class. Of course, they either failed to notice or speak against the dangerous balloon flights. The Sve tended to drift over the Baltic Sea, and Andrée often dragged his basket dangerously close to the water. Andrée also invented a steering system made from drag ropes, leading Andrée to claim that he designed a new dirigible. Unfortunately, these drag ropes often snapped, fell off, became entangled with one another, or dragged on the ground. These mishaps discouraged neither Andrée nor his backers, and they set their sights higher still. At the time, polar exploration had become the great passion of the Western world, with Arctic explorers becoming household names. At the time, the Norwegians took the lead by far in polar explorations, which annoyed the Swedes. Andrée spoke to the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences in 1895. He proposed a trans-Arctic balloon expedition from Spitsbergen across the Polar Sea to either Russia, Canada, or the United States. He earned financial support from Alfred Nobel, the dynamite magnate and founder of the Nobel Prize, along with King Oscar II of Sweden. Sweden had a proud history of exploration and did not want to lose the quest for a prize that lay so close to home to the Norwegians. Andrée, Nils Strindberg, and Knut Frankel planned to lift off from Svalbard Island in 1896. Unfortunately, the winds proved unfavorable, and the expedition had to be postponed until next year. Unfortunately, the expedition had another problem which went unnoticed. The polar balloon Örnen, or Eagle, had been delivered directly to Svalbard Island from its manufacturer in Paris without being tested. When measurements showed it to be losing more gas than expected, Andrée refused to change his plans. Nonetheless, the expedition became national news, and a cheering crowd of thousands gathered to the 3 explorers loaded the basket to the brim with scientific equipment, climbed inside, and cut the balloon free. Right away, the problem started when the Örnen began moving at the speed of bureaucracy, if not slower. Friction from the drag ropes, which measured nearly 1,000 feet long, caused the basket to dip frighteningly near the water. Ropes also twisted around, attaching them from screw holes. Several came unscrewed completely at once, and nearly 1,200 pounds of rope vanished into the ocean. At the same time, the explorers dumped hundreds of pounds of sand overboard to get the basket clear of the water. Within a few minutes, the Ornan lost 1,600 pounds. It went from a supposedly steerable craft into an ordinary hydrogen balloon with only a few ropes still dangling from it. Lightened, it rose to 2,300 feet, where the lower air pressure made the hydrogen escape even faster through the 8 million stitch holes left by the sewing. Since French engineer Henri Lechambre made the balloon from layers of varnished silk, the gas tightness became even more important, and unfortunately the glued-on reinforcing strips and secret sealant did not keep the gas inside, at least in the amounts they needed. The expedition originally planned to communicate with the outside world through pigeons and buoys. The buoys would have messages inside them and be dropped into the water, and the current would hopefully take them to civilization, but only 2 of them would ever be found. Since members bred the courier pigeons in Norway, they hoped they would simply fly home. Members wrote messages in Norwegian with instructions to deliver them to Sweden. Andrée released 4 pigeons, but only 1 reappeared. A Norwegian steamer crew sighted the pigeon, shot it, and cooked it into pigeon pie for supper. Andrée's flight lasted 10 hours, 29 minutes, and another 41 hours of bumping on the ground, a time when none of them got a wink of sleep. The Ornan crashed with surprising gentleness, leaving no one hurt, the pigeons safe in their wicker cages, and the scientific equipment undamaged. Andrée built a sled, but the expedition had no warm clothes besides woolen coats and oilskins. The 3 struggled across the Arctic ice desert in their over-heavy sled across ice shelves, crevasses, and drifting floes, hunting polar bears and seals to supply themselves with food. On September 12th, they camped on an ice floe and chose to let the drifting ice take them where it would. They drifted south, reinforcing their shelter as they arrived at Kvotia Island, where the stresses of the ice against land caused the floe to break up. On the island, they soon met a local resident, a polar bear, who invited Strindberg for dinner and, of course, found him delicious. The other 2 died soon after, about 4 months after their original crash landing. About 33 years later, on August 5th, 1930, Norwegians studying glaciers found them and sent their remains home to a great outpouring of public grief. King Gustav V of Sweden delivered a eulogy in person, declaring, "In the name of the Swedish nation, I here greet the dust of the polar explorers who, more than 3 decades ago, left their native land to find answers to difficult questions." Yet Andrée made one real contribution. He took many photographs, which the Norwegians found on his frozen and mummified corpse, and they sent them home, where they became a national treasure cherished to this day. That wraps things up for this episode of the Legendarium. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, press like. If you want to see more, press subscribe. And if you've got anything to say, let me know in the comments section. Thanks again for joining me, and I hope that you have a great rest of the day.